I promise. Go on and do your little dance while they still doing your song. So today, I have been presented with a series of questions, and so I am going to answer these questions. They are in no particular order. The first question says, do you think the black church has healed us or hurt us more in the long run? And why? Do I think the black church has healed us or hurt us? It's a pretty deep question. I think, and as far as togetherness, there's probably again, these are just my opinions and they can change or they can alter. Uh, I've always felt like the black church should do more in the community. I don't understand why there's so many homeless people, homeless people, liquor stores, and shoe stores around churches. It seems like, for me, and I'm just thinking out loud, that if you're a leader, then lead. A lot of churches pay tithes and offerings. They do a lot of things for the church. They volunteer for the fish fry and all this stuff. What y'all doing with this money? Um, why can't the people in the church gather money and invest it in certain things? Like, even if you started off something small, like with a popcorn machine or something, and sold popcorn on Sundays and let them make money, and then from there buy something else like a t-shirt machine or something, and then from there buy uh, uh, Girl Scout cookies and sell them, and this. And I think that with the amount of people that are involved in black churches, and it's just my opinion, I don't think it's enough solutions that come from them. I think that if you're gonna have a nonprofit and you qualify for a certain write-off, um, then you should be responsible for certain things. You should be responsible um, for people within your vicinity. I think that if you're gonna get that tax write-off, you should be doing more. So I that's a really deep question. I don't know if the black church has helped, or because it could be possibly worse. It could be worse than what it is now, the black community. Um, Maybe the church is helping. I think that more help could come from the black church. It's just my personal opinion. I just, it's a whole lot of pimping going on in the black church, bro. I'm sorry. That's just how I feel. And from what I done seen, the majority of the participants in church are African American females in the black church, and I think that's just a man or men uh, um, pulling the wool over women's eyes, bro. That's just my personal opinion. I just kind of feel that way. Next question: why do you think so many black churches still have white Jesus on the wall? Does symbolism matter? Do black churches have white Jesus on the wall? Oh, you know what? I ain't never seen a black Jesus in the church. Damn, that's a good question, bro. I think so. I think that symbolism is detrimental to a people. I think if you're gonna be serving Jesus, you should at least believe that he black. Because if you believe that he white, then it just coincides with thinking of yourself as being secondary. Because when you think about, if you have, I know in my household or in a grandma house or a nanny house, there was a picture of Martin Luther King and a white Jesus on the wall. And that's what it was. Uh, when you start to see yourself secondary, you start to treat yourself secondary. There have been times when I prayed, well, I saw a white person. That's what has been shown to me the whole time. I saw a white man with long hair. I'm just being honest with you. Then I think about where white people are and where black people are. Because when you think about money, the only thing that's on money is the white man. The only thing, the only God, the only picture of God in most black households is a white man. I think you would have to go back to the Willie Lynch letter or movement to get a grasp on the origins of that. But it's kind of like, bro, we don't like ourselves because we're shown bad pictures of ourselves. There was a experiment that was taking place years ago where they had these dolls and they would ask the black girl who the ugly doll, which one of these dolls is ugly. And for no other reason than she was black and her perception of what black was, she thought that the black doll was ugly. That's just the propaganda that's being pushed. It's always been pushed. It'll continue to be pushed. So the question is, why do you think so many black churches still have white Jesus on the wall? If that's true, then I would say strategic and effective slaving. If slaving is a word, I think that to bow down to white Jesus is no different from hating a black man. If you're gonna worship somebody that at least look like you, so you're not secondary to these people enslaved you. They use this same Bible to enslave you. This is just my personal opinion. They ain't changed nothing. And it was a white Jesus then, and it's a white Jesus now. This the same Jesus. Man, come on, man, make this make sense. Yeah, that symbolism does matter. How has the black church shaped our views on authority, power, and submission? I just did that. Damn, I didn't even realize the black church. Some black church don't have pictures of Jesus up. I would assume that some. I hadn't gone to all the black churches, so I can't say that this was going on now. But there are some. Do you have a black church with white Jesus on the wall? If so, take a picture of it, man. Send it to me so we can talk about it. Let's see what we have here. What role did the church play during slavery, and how has that toll evolved or not evolved? I kind of just touched on all of those, where we were during slavery and how the Bible and Jesus and the introduction to religion was utilized to keep us kind of like in place. Where like we were preached to, and while we were being preached to, you was telling us that, God wanted us to be slaves. I guess some of that same resilience or some of that same authoritative presence is still there because a lot of black people, from my personal opinion, we kind of operate out of fear. Even if we don't like each other, we'll off each other like, I'll do something to him, but y'all better not mess with them white people. It's just kind of been an ongoing thing. It's almost equivalent to when during the 1800s or the 1700s and into even the 1900s, where some black people were victimized. They were victimized or punished because they had carried out certain acts or failed to carry out certain acts. But although the attention was given to that person being humiliated and or unalived or disciplined, it was for those who were watching. And when I say those who were watching, I was reading a story where they tied a black man to, he didn't want to work no more. This was actually during the sharecropping years, which is equivalent to slavery, depending on how you view it. They tied one arm to one horse, tied the other arm to another horse, and split that man in half. But that's not the most effective aspect of that interaction. The most effective aspect is that they forced the family to watch. When they forced his daughters and his wife to watch, what that did was that created a degree of fear. That fear has been passed down. That sword in action is not as strong as the fear that these people embedded in their offspring, if that makes sense. I think that anytime you can scare the bejesus out of somebody, you'll have control over them for as long as they are not afraid. And when people who are not afraid speak against that which enslaved us, they are deemed of the devil. They be like, I'm guilty of that myself sometimes where I just be like, yeah, I don't know what you talking about. That's the devil's. Uh, that is not of God. Uh, when upon examination, bro, you just really got to question everything. But also, I have to understand this is that I'm looking at the world, I'm looking at religion, I'm looking at Jesus, I'm looking at uh uh Allah and the Quran and all. This is just my perception. So this being my perception, this is my perception. I see it from right here. You may be seeing it from right here, or right here, or right there. I think that we all have the same goal in mind, but there's just different perceptions of it. So I don't think what I'm saying is law. It's just my perception. And my perception can change based on uh, what aspect of it I see. But for the most part, I'm going to say the question was, is there a difference between, no, what role did the church play during slavery and how has that role evolved? Hey man, we were slaves and we was being preached to, and we still slaves and we still being preached to. And that's not to say that you out here preaching slavery. This is just my perception. I'm just going by what I see. And sometimes what I see, it just don't really make sense. I'm sorry. Because they're pretty much explaining why there's so many religions. Facts. And I was like, bro, so this got to be the way. But what about somebody on a whole nother part of the world who have no idea what we over here practicing? Does that mean that person is supposed to go to hell? I don't really get that. I don't really understand that. That person seemed to be at peace. And who am I to tell you that you're wrong and I'm right? That don't really make sense to me neither. I think that you got to find out what's righteous for you as an individual and go with it. But believe in what it is that you got going on. I know that when I start thinking about older black women, it's almost like people are like clay. And the older they get, the harder they get to mold. I don't have a problem serving God. I don't have a problem being obedient, but I have to know without a shadow of a doubt that I'm doing the right thing in the eyes of my creator. And at the end of the day, that's all that matter. Whether you serve Jesus, Allah, or a bag of potatoes, if it makes sense to you, then you got to go for what you know. It get weird when we try to ridicule and judge other people and what their format is. I can't tell you if your thing right. I'm hanging on trying to make sure mine right. But I will tell you the origin of this Bible from my perception is that it was utilized to keep us calm during slavery. And to one degree or another, I kind of feel like it's still helping keep us calm because the black church don't do nothing in the black community. They have fish fries. I don't see them doing nothing. Again, that's just my opinion. They molest people. I ain't gonna say that, but there are preachers who molest. I just think that they could be investing some of them tithes and offering, bro. They could be doing something different in the community. That's just my personal opinion. The next question is, why do you think some older black folks are more afraid of going against the church? I literally just answered that question. Why do you think some older black folks are more afraid of going against the church than standing up to injustice? That's a deep question. But I just answered it. And it's not just black people, just like older people. I'm 48 now. The older I get, the harder it is to get me to do anything. I don't even like going outside when it get dark out. Or if it's gonna be a whole bunch of moving parts or alcohol or new tennis shoes involved, I might just sit it out just for the sake of, I don't feel like my anxiety, I got anxiety, or I'm just old. But the older people become, the more set in their ways there are. And so with younger people, it's easier to mold that clay. But with older people, you ain't moving. And that's when you'll catch black, well, I ain't gonna say black, I'll say older people. You'll catch older people, they'll just say what's on their mind. They be like, old people in church and tell the truth, or drunk people, or what have you. The next question is, can the black church be both a source of hope and a tool of control? How does that contradiction play out? Can the black church be both a source of hope and a tool of, it actually is that. The black church is a source of hope to one degree or another. I've gone to church and felt rejuvenated. I've gone to church and felt like, you know what? I got this. I'm gonna go at this way because God got my back and I feel supported and I prayed and I fasted about it. And this is where I'm at. So it gave me hope. I think that is one of the elements of, I don't say persuasion, I would say motivation, but you gotta give people hope. I was talking to used to be pimp, and he gave his hoes hope. I'm not comparing the whore trade or human trafficking to church, but if you squint your eyes, a pimp sometimes look just like a preacher. That's a whole nother conversation though. Let's see. The next question is, do you think the fear of white authority, police, judges, bosses is still passed down in our families? How? By talking to them and showing them by example. We'll F a N-word up. Even in the music, bro. Look at the music. Bro, we will disrespect your trap. There's a comparison that can be made. There's a comparison that can be made. Facts. Let me see what it was. Do you think the fear of white authority? Oh yeah, it's being passed down. And then think about music. Like in music, we will literally we'll shoot your trap up, disrespect your old lady, kill you, but we won't accidentally bump into a white man. We won't accidentally tip over. We won't accidentally kick a cat or spit on a dog. But when it comes to Black lives, boy, we don't care nothing about them in the music. And as long as that's perpetuated, oh, look, I seen a music video, man, with this, it's scary. But it was this girl, and she had raunchy lyrics. And in the video, she had, let me see if I can pull it up. Bro, she had little girls in the thing with her. I couldn't figure out who let their child be in this grown lady video, bro. Why did y'all do this? That was weird to me. Let me see what my history is. And I ain't gonna play the song. I just couldn't understand it. Why you let your child be in this video? Music, live, game, and sports. Oh damn, let me see, is that it? Damn, I wish I could remember that girl name. Or if I could just look at my history. How can you look at your history? Oh, I can't see my history. But I can't understand it, bro. I can't understand why you got these little kids in this grown lady video. It just seemed like it was gonna be just seemed unhealthy. But she talking about, dropping her ass and robbing dudes, and you push this propaganda. The propaganda has been created, and you just continuously pushing it. And the younger you push it on them, the stronger that element will be in their lives. And that's just the sad truth. I use this example. I was at the juvenile yesterday, and I told a group of young men, I said, hey, if you studying for a test, you have an algebra test on Friday, and you study Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you take that algebra test, you prepare it, you downloaded data, and you utilize that data. Okay, so if you wake up and you listen to Black people killing Black people Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, then Saturday night you see your op at the movie theater, then shit, you've been studying for this test. Now it's time to execute. Call it subliminal if you want to, but at the end of the day, I call it uploading. Whatever comes into you comes out of you, bro. So you look at a bunch of murdering and killing, that's what will eventually come out of you. Now have certain agendas, help put those. I be wondering sometimes about who invested in it, like who's invested in this drill music? Like, why is it such a big thing? And how much money is being made off drill music? How much is this, the effect of drill music, how much of it is increasing the prison population? Because I kind of tie a whole bunch of things in unison. Like I would assume that the more drill music is popularized, the more murders take place, the more acts, the more unlawfulness takes place, thus increasing the prison population. So if I'm invested in a private prison, I can take some of those proceeds or those earnings and invest in and just push. All I gotta do is keep pushing this type of music, and we'll continue to have ditties in the news. And when I say ditties in the news, it's like when you start talking about this subliminal hatred and how we see ourselves and how we see other people is when they get done with Diddy, whether he's guilty or not guilty, they're gonna find somebody else to put in the mainstream. They're gonna find somebody else to crucify. Um, and I'm not saying these people are guilty or not guilty, but just think about it, because they coming for Fat Joe, then Tyler Perry. Before that, it was Bill Cosby, Will Smith. It'll be all these different people. Whenever you catch a black man in the news, think about how positive the information is and think about how negative it is. And they will continue to do that. It's like a reminder. Hey, it don't matter how much money you got or what type of state you're supposed to have going on in this world. We have the ability to turn your life upside down, and you're a bad guy. And that's just been the way of the world. Next question. How much of our behavior is shaped by an unspoken need to not make white people uncomfortable? You know what? That's a good question. Cause I was downtown, I was riding on my bike, and I got speakers on my bike. And when you roll through downtown, when you go through the let's see, which I can't think of the street, but it's the same street that Hooters is on. So Hooters, if I'm coming, Hooters is right here, and you got hotels right here. And if there's a stop sign, whatever music is playing on the motorcycle, bro, it just blasts out. And then I was listening to something. It was nigga this and nigga get this money. I was like, bro, I felt so bad. I felt so bad. And I listened to all types of music, but I'm being honest. I was just like, man, it feel uncomfortable me playing this music around so many white people. So I went to Red Hot Chili Peppers, take them to the place I love. And I was like, damn, what is that? What mindset is that where I'm embarrassed or I just felt bad playing that music around white people? But I get like that when I'm around children. Like I was delivering the moonwalk, and when I was delivering the moonwalk, they already had music playing. The music they were playing was Sexy Red. And so I'm looking at a 7-year-old recite all the words to Sexy Red. Oh man, it just felt bad on the inside. I was just like, at least if you're gonna listen to it, like get the unexplicit version. But this is not my part. These are my clients. If I go in here trying to tell them, what they should be listening to, some people may, receive it, but then some people might be like, you know what, I'm gonna go with a less conscious moonwalk man the next time, since you want to be Martin Luther King off in this bit. So I keep it to myself. If I have an opportunity to say something, man, I'll try to say something, but I'll be trying not to offend people for the most part. When we see a white man in a suit versus a black man in a suit, why do we often trust one more than the other? Shit, perception, propaganda, what we've been fed, what we see on the news. That's it. Think about all the latest movies. When you see a black main character, a lot of times he a bad guy, bro. He don't even be no. Well, hold on. Now let me say that. Cause let me see. Damn, what's a black superhero that we've had? I guess anybody from Wakanda would be a black superhero. I don't know, bro. I'm not that deep off into movies, but a lot of our heroes, a lot of I don't say heroes, a lot of the movie stars, our main characters are bad guys. If they black, they be bad guys. And it's just like in the news. You turn on the news right now. You can turn on the news right now. You're going to see, especially in Atlanta, black teen killed. Black teen. Let's try it. I'm gonna go to the news right now. I'm just gonna put in Fox 5. I'm gonna put in Fox 5, Atlanta. And let me see. Build in America, 4th of July in Atlanta. Sean, there you go. That's a black man right there. Can y'all see the same? Oh no, y'all can't even see that. But when you go to Fox 5, this is what you'll see right here. On Fairburn Road, Fox 5's Allie Levine. That's what's going on. Because every time you turn on the news, this is what you're going to see.
At the apartment complex on Fairburn Road. Fox 5's Allie Levine joins us now live with more of that video. Allie.
Yeah, that's right. And before we show you that video, I just want to give a quick warning for people. Some may find it disturbing. You will hear gunshots and see a gun being fired. Now, we have made the decision to show you this video to share the realities of gun violence. This sound. It's the sound of an 18-year-old boy losing his life.
See, this is what's on the news all the time. So you can go to yesterday, tomorrow. I'm no psychic, but this evening on the 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and 6 o'clock news, guess what? It's gonna be more black people killing black people. I'm not saying it's not taking place. And apparently this is our definition of news. When this is our definition of news, we have to understand that we are being conditioned. It's almost like Nike. You know what Nike is. You know Nike is a reputable brand. Every now and again, they don't do commercials because they're trying to gain your business. They'll do a commercial just to remind you. Just to remind you. When you're trying to convert you over, we know you wearing Nike, but just in case, we're gonna flash that Nike sign on you. Just subliminally, just in case. Just a reminder. That's all. It's a strategic marketing tool. Just a reminder. We at the top, but just a reminder. So you'll catch a movie, you'll go on Netflix. I'm not saying all the movies about black men or what's going on, bro. I'm not saying all the movies on Netflix with black men is like bad movies. What I'm saying is that movies everywhere, YouTube uploads everywhere, information about black people, you know, it's used to persuade and to remind, and it's effective. It's effective. I'm trying to get back to my world stuff, what I was doing. Let me see. All right, so let's go to the next question, man. And if y'all got some questions, I greatly appreciate them. I greatly appreciate it because we can get cut this down just a little bit. I greatly appreciate those questions, man. Any feedback is good feedback. What is that? Bro, that ain't what we on. Let me see. There we go. All right, so do you think Christianity was used to pacify enslaved black people? How does that history affect faith today? I already answered that question. That's the same question. It's just formatted differently. How did stripping African people of their names, language, and beliefs affect our collective psyche? It's very simple. If you know what? That process almost reminds me of prison. Because when you come or you're kidnapped from your origin, your original country, they give you a new name, your connection with where you came from is altered. And then you're a number. And I'm thinking out loud, these thoughts are crossing over, but from Africa to America, you get a new name, you get a new culture, and you get a new assignment. When you go to chain gang, you become a number, and you're conditioned. Everybody get a ball here. In the state of Georgia, I'm not talking about federal prison, I'm talking about the state. All of your hair is cutting off. You are humiliated because you have to bathe with 200 other men. They slap this soap on you, and you have to respond in unison. Sir, yes, sir. Ma'am, yes, ma'am. So that conditioning. And then, you know what? Just the colors on the wall. Like, when I was in marketing class at Atlanta Tech, they used to talk about how colors mean certain things. So when you have bright colors, like remember kindergarten, it was all these bright colors like yellows and blues and grays, at least underneath the lapidated wood. Everybody ain't catch that, but because these colors they produce a certain energy. Like with red does something to the taste buds. That's why most of the signs for Burger King, McDonald's, and most eatery outlets have red in their signs. But when you go to a prison, you caught that, bro? You didn't catch that. When you go to a prison, the walls are off-white. They're dull. This is used, and everybody's dressed alike. So it's used to create not just groupthink, but it's effectively utilized to reduce individualism. You get it when you start thinking like everybody else, it's easy to control. So that's what, prison is a lot like slavery. Slavery is a lot like prison. I wonder if the warden, that ain't what this upload is about. All right, so if Black people are the original people, how do we go from creators of civilization to being taught we're inferior? I mean, that's a really, really good question. These are smart people questions. Like, I got 2 GEDs, so I'll be doing my best. If Black people are the original people, how did we go from creators of civilization to being taught we're inferior? From my perception, for what I was told, from what I read, salt, nigga. Mirrors. If we were the original Black people, the original Black people, original people. I was in Fayetteville County in an infirmary unit because of piercings, 24/7 light, and that color made me psych out, for real, for real. Hey man, colors affect us, bro. Colors really do affect us. This may be a clone. Good afternoon, how can I help you?
Hello, this is April Rosario calling on the recorded line for a day.
No, you're not. No, you're not. I rebuke that spirit. I rebuke that. If Black people are the original people, how did we go from creators of civilization to being taught? Hey man, trust in individuals. Not knowing who the enemy was. No people came to kill, steal, and destroy. And I guess lack of loyalty. I wasn't there. I want to take, like me living a life and then having somebody to write about that life, and then somebody reading about that writing on my life and coming up with an opinion. When in fact, that person who is reading what was written did not live it. So again, I don't say they speculations, these are just conclusions that I've come to with the information that I have. But the information I have, I know it's diluted because it's not a firsthand experience. But I would say we was tricked by spices, mirrors, and I would say a lack of unity within ourselves. I sometimes think about what we would have become if slavery never existed. Because even when I look at I take the temperature on some of the countries over in Africa, bro, it seemed kind of weird. But that's a whole nother conversation. Why do you think so much of our culture and history has been erased, whitewashed, or rewritten? Because I think that if people don't know where they come from, then it's easier to control them. If I knew that I came from, Ancestry.com is important because it tells you where your origins are. So you have some type of connection to something that is greater than you. And people always want to belong to something, whether it be a gang, a football team, a Democratic Party, or a fraternity or a sorority. We want to belong to something. So when you begin to alter that, then it alters those individuals who are involved in it. That's just common psychology. Yeah, I think that once you want to belong to something, if you can punch a hole in it and be like, you ain't no real blood, or you're not a particular kind of Mason, or you're not a real Q dog, or your chapter is not recognized, or anytime you can punch a hole and this person's identity is based on the clarity and the strength of this particular group of people, you alter that person's persona. And the ace of spades to that is, if you can get the people to punch holes in their own stuff, then you ain't even got to put the work in no more. You could just piggyback off what you've already created, and then even within that, it goes back to the origin of the Willow Lynch equation. How would society look different today if Black children were taught the full truth about their origins from birth? Bro, I swear to God, I just said that. How would society look different today if Black children were taught the full truth about their origins from birth? I think we would be stronger. We would be more effective. I think true equality could take, you know what, I can only imagine, bro. I can only imagine if we actually knew like who we are. If we knew everything, if everybody knew everything about ourselves and the history of, some of the things, the horrific acts that have taken place to our people, I think we would move a tad bit different. We would move. But that also answers the question as to like why certain histories will be eliminated from public schools. Because when you have a definition of yourself, you move differently, and you can't be moved around. You can't be a victim. When you start to find out who you are, bro, it's hard to victimize a person who knows who they are. It's hard. I'm not gonna say it's hard. It's more difficult. Because of people who don't know who they are or what their origin is, they want to belong to something. So you give them something to belong to, which is, in my personal opinion, why homosexuality in the Black community is so strong. Because if we just doing numbers, to me, I was like, bro, we don't have enough people for nobody to be no homosexual. We need to be reproducing. But if you start visualizing yourself as being a part of the American I don't want to say carpet, it's something else. But if you stop identifying yourself as a Black and you start identifying or strongly identifying as an American, then you'll move as such. And then as such, then you'll be diluted. You'll be diluted. This is my child. I don't know if she was watching. Dayana. Huh?
Hey there, what you doing?
I'm on live right now.
Oh, come back now.
All right. Yeah, that's a really good question, man. I think we would be stronger. They know who we are. When you say they know who we are, you saying that the kids know who we are, or the white man know who we are? How do you think Black children are taught? Yeah. I don't think Black children, this is just my opinion. Cause the kids I talk to, bro, I just be like, when I start asking them when slavery ended, one dude told me 1970. I'm like, how old are you? 16. Man, we don't even know when slavery ended. And in reference to this question, we're not even really talking about slavery, because when they do start to teach our history, whether it be in movie, you know what? Think about Hollywood. All of our movies, the birth of the Black man started at slavery. There is no pre-slavery Hollywood movies for Black people. There's not. There's not a movie that I can think of. If you know a movie, put it in the comment section, bro, so I can check it out. There's no pre-slavery movie for black people. Does it come out right? Like a blockbuster movie with black people before slavery. Everything kind of starts at slavery, and then we just go from there. But we had life before slavery. So everybody know the truth about us except us. Facts. I can agree with that wholeheartedly. I'm even guilty of it because there's more about us that I need to know. But I'm ordering books. I just don't be having time to read them. I try to utilize my time listening to different resources, man, talk about, our origins. So I'm even at 48, I'm guilty of it myself, bro. But I try to pick some up as often as possible. I try, and I'll continue to try. And then what I do is when I'm talking to these kids, when they get sentenced to anger management, they come to a debate class, or like I said, I was at the RYDC, the Youth Detention Center, yesterday. Boy, I'm taking your ass through a history lesson because I'm trying to get you to understand the Woman King, sorta. What's going on, Skrill? Bro, you say the Woman King, you my brother, so I'm gonna talk to your ass. The Woman King, I only looked at the Woman King once. And my IG is the same thing as this best day of my life. Spelt just like it is on here. And then I got another IG called Stay Out of Prison, but the most with the most movement is gonna be best day of my life. Bro, the Woman King, it just stole when I was looking at it, bro. I was like, bro, this don't feel right. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm not saying this is not a movie about us before slavery, because that's the question that I asked. So you did answer that question. But when I watch movies, when I watch TV, when I listen to music, what be throwing me off is the first thing that I think about is, does this content or this source include black people harming other black people? And in that movie, as strong as the symbolism, because I don't know if it was true or not, but I just saw a bunch of black people killing other black people, and it just threw me all the way off. Whenever I see that, man, it just be hurting me to my heart, bro. I just be like, this could be a powerful movie. But why are we killing each other? We can't, whew, again. So you have a message. The message could, to answer the question, bro, answer the question. The Woman King would be a movie. But even within that, my first thought be to produce it on exactly who produced this and why. I almost like the Black Panther. Cause as black as it make us show up at the movie theater, bro, it's so much weirdness in there and so much symbolism that we really don't pay attention to. And the Black Panthers do not, or nobody from the Black Panthers benefit from the Black Panther movement. And then it's just so much stuff to go on. It's so much stuff. When you just break it down, and that ain't what kind of page this is. I ain't breaking down the movie. Maybe I ought to start doing it, but again, black betrayal, black people fighting other black people killing other black people. I just be like, damn, man, I'm all killed out, bro. I done seen enough black on black crime. To whatever the story is that you're telling, man, tell it without killing us killing each other, man. Let us kill somebody else. This shit here is devastating. And then when we see it, and then the kids see it, that's African history. Can't do nothing about that. I can question it. What? I guess you might be right. You saying that's African history, that black people kill black people? I don't like the history, though. And if there is history, if we can make Cleopatra a white woman, at least we could change the history. We need a movie that is created, well, I can't even say that, for us, by us, with some soft lies. So we'll see ourselves in a different light. Yeah. So that we'll see ourselves in a different light. I guess that is African history. It's sad to say, because if it was just Africans, shit, we wouldn't kill nobody but each other. Man. I don't know, man. Life is a journey, man. And then we continue to learn. And even when people say certain things, like when you saying what you saying, I want to contest it. But then when I think about it, I can't detect no lies. I can't find no lies. Do you think forgiveness has been weaponized in the Black church to keep us from demanding justice? I feel like that question already been asked. Let me ask it again. Do you think forgiveness has been weaponized in the Black church to keep us from demanding justice? I'm gonna go to the next question because that one just seemed like I've answered that within some of the other questions. Why do we shout and praise in church on Sunday but stay silent about injustice on Monday? That's what we've been conditioned to do that. My therapist told me to stop overlooking stuff too. I just came from therapy and she was just like, if you want to try to make certain things work, you got to keep repeating yourself, because just because you heard it don't mean that everybody's heard it. So why do we shout and praise in church on Sunday but stay silent about injustice on Monday? Because that's what we've been conditioned to do. We operate out of fear, and we'll do a lot of hooping and hollering, but when it come down to the real facts, we don't really want change. We don't really want change. Oh, we want it, but we ain't willing to do what it takes to make change. Cause we'll show up with a sign, we'll even march and stuff, but that don't do nothing. That ain't how you create change. If you really want to create change in these United States, it's gonna take some sacrifices. And some people are not ready for that sacrifice because it's gonna alter or end your life. But those are the sacrifices that need to be made. Whatever has been done in the past, that's not working. That's not effective at all. Boycotting and march. I want to answer these questions in the podcast bro, when, bro? Because I'm available this evening. I think we can get you on the podcast, but you're in another state. But we can definitely get you on here, bro. I think that would make sense. Got so much to add. Yeah, man. And I respect your mind. So it would be greatly appreciated. I thought you was coming down here, but I would like to hear what you have to say about a lot of this stuff, man. Because then you used to be a preacher. You used to be a preacher, bro. I remember you used to be running Bible study. You used to be a preacher. I'm going to read the question again. Why do we shout and praise in church on Sunday but stay silent about injustice on Monday? Because we're afraid. And man, some of us are just followers. A lot of us not leaders. Yes, I did. That's no more. I was listening to this artist. Her name is B. Kilt. Hold on, what's her name? She got that song, like, what's the point of doing this if this is that? And what's the point of doing that? And she talk about human trafficking and molestation. She said, one of her lyrics, she said that a dope boy is not a molester as long as he got a bag. And I think that to some point in our community, we overlook certain things so much that it just becomes a part of the culture, but it doesn't induce change. Like, to me, a dope boy is worse than a murderer, because a dope boy supply the tools to create murder and create robbers and create all this deception. And why too self-centered as people? We too self-centered. Yeah, I would agree with that. I was thinking about that too. How can we be less self-centered? I think we have some people out here that if I had to sacrifice myself for the greater good, or I felt like, you know, more was gonna come out of it, shit, I'd be gone. Cause it would just mathematically make sense. One of me, so that if you got 100 people up under your advisement and somebody got to be sacrificed so that those 100 people can be the most effective that they could possibly be, I sacrifice myself. Cause it would just mathematically make sense. It would just make sense. Unfortunately, we have people that be sacrificing themselves and it don't be for nothing. Like, for example, I'm gonna bring this up, and this is just my opinion. That brother who unalived that police officer. He unalived that police officer because his son had been unalived. So at first, I was just like, man, this dude, he an asshole, because the police that you unalive, he's not even the one who unalived your son. And I was like, we giving this dude big ups, but he should not be praised. And then I thought about it. I said to myself, and I hate to bring chain gang into everything, but sometimes chain gang rules be in effect. And what I know about survival is this, is that when something is done, if you do not set an example, then this will continue to take place and you will be a victim. And black people have continued to be a victim of violence against the police force. They've been killing us since they could fathom the thought of doing such. And I said to myself, what if, and this is just hypothetical, what if every time a young black man is unalived by the police, justly or unjustly, randomly a police officer get hit with a vehicle? Then I started thinking about what kind of effect would that have? It's between emotional and as a whole, and we move off that more than logic. Big facts. Big, excuse my language, big fucking facts. Big facts. I'm gonna touch on it. I'm gonna touch on this and I'm gonna touch back on it. Cause in my mind, if every time a black male get killed by the police, if a officer, you mentioned the drug dealer, and I have a question. It said message retracted. Come on with the question about the drug dealer. So if every time a black male was unalived by the police, justly or unjustly, some random police officer connected or disconnected from this particular event is unalived, I think that that there'll be less deaths. Cause you'll actually have repercussion. Right now, there's no repercussion. You have the officer that killed, what that boy, let me see, officer that you got the Atlanta officer arrested that he killed my man that we had all let me see, there's one here. That's not what we're looking for. I'm looking for something more recent. Well, we had that officer who damn, what is his name? He killed Reginald. There we go. So you just had this take place. Oh, my bad, I gotta cut the volume up. My bad, stick with me. Come on, bro.
Cody Alcorn has the mayor of Atlanta is responding to the actions of a city police officer under investigation for an off-duty fight at a bar in Midtown. Witnesses tell 11 Alive officer Garrett Rolfe and one of his friends were the aggressors here, but police only arrested a bar employee. Tonight, we know that employee is out of jail, but 11 Alive's Cody Alcorn has been working this story for us. Cody, you wrote this for us last night. You're back live outside of 10 and Midtown, tracking the newest developments with what's going on here.
Jennifer, the mayor says he has spoken to the police chief about this incident, and tonight we've confirmed that the employee arrested here behind us on Sunday morning has been released from jail. This all started early Sunday morning inside 10 Atlanta here at 10th and Piedmont. The owner says two men walked in, ordered drinks, and were upset about the price. He identified one of the men as Garrett Roth, who repeatedly told staff he was an Atlanta police officer. The owner says when tensions grew, the female bartender called over a male employee for help. Eventually, all three men ended up outside. That's when things turned physical. The owner says Officer Roth punched his employee several times. Then the employee hit back. Police were called but only charged the employee and allowed Roth to leave. A decision now sparking outrage. Witnesses inside the bar tell 11 Alive Officer Roth and his friend.
Now wait till you find out who Officer Roth is, and then Skrill, I'm gonna get to everything that you're saying.
Started the fight, and the employee was just defending himself. Roth, the same officer who shot and killed Rayshard Brooks in 2020, has since been relieved of duty with pay, while both a criminal and internal investigation move forward. Tonight, the mayor's office released this statement. The mayor has spoken to the chief about this matter and expressed his concerns. Anytime any employee, especially a police officer, is involved in any incident, he is concerned and expects a full and thorough impartial investigation. That is what is underway now. Officer Roth has been relieved of duty pending an investigation. 10 Atlanta, the bar where this all happened, is also calling for accountability. In a new statement to 11 Alive, owner James Nelson said in part, "We're very concerned about the incident that occurred early Sunday morning," going on to say it raises serious questions about the conduct of this officer, and we hope that all parties involved will be treated fairly in the Atlanta Police Department's investigatory process. The employee who was arrested was charged with battery and simple battery. He was released, as I mentioned, this afternoon. I have requested the warrants to see what Atlanta police say happened here outside 10 Sunday morning. Of course, we'll continue to press APD on this investigation and monitor where things go as this internal investigation continues at Atlanta Police. Live in Midtown, Cody Alcorn, 11 Alive News.
All right, Cody, thanks for keeping us updated. And as Cody mentioned, Officer Garrett Rolfe is the same Atlanta police officer who shot and killed Rayshard Brooks in 2020. He was fired and charged with murder, but those charges were dropped in 2022, and Rolfe was then reinstated. Tonight, again, he remains on paid administrative leave.
That's who he is. That's wild. All right, so let me get to the chat, cause no.
Police practice
That's not what we're doing. That's not what we're doing. All right, so Skrill say, drug dealers would pay me to drive girls and young ladies to Atlanta for abortions. I was young and was in love with fast money. I felt that my soul was bound for participating in innocent bloodshed. What do you think? That's a really good question. Here's where it's hard for me to point the finger at anybody doing anything, because I have robbed, pistol whipped, been shot at, all for money. So I don't have the hypocrisy within me to look at somebody else and say, you shouldn't have did that for money. That was a very ugly thing. Man, I would have killed somebody for money. That's just the God's honest truth. So let me first by saying I can't judge nobody for doing what it. Then when you young, and certain things, I used to get a thrill out of robbing people, bro. In reference to drug, let me say this: there no sin or no unlawfulness or no harmfulness is greater than the other to me. I think that the effects that drugs have on our community is very detrimental. They create some of the other vices that come along with the game. Like when you sell drugs, I've had a parent to consume drugs. I had a parent that sold drugs. I had a parent that used drugs. And then because of that usage of drugs, then I've had a sibling that lost their lives. And then I myself began to dive off into a life of crime. And I'm not blaming it solely on it, but drugs have been used to kill our communities. When you think about Vietnam, I was listening to my dad, and that judge, he was a judge from Detroit. He's on Vlad. He has a Vlad interview, but he was saying that in Detroit, his community was cool. And then when some of the brothers was coming back from Vietnam, they was addicted to heroin. And that addiction, man, it killed our community, bro. It killed it. So drugs are just very, man, they kill. Drugs make you do things that you didn't believe that you could or would do. So I point no fingers, but the drug game is very detrimental. 12 should have to attend weekly one-on-one therapy sessions. No, for real. Not just that. Well, I would say that. 12 should have to attend weekly one-on-one therapy sessions. Not only would I have them to attend therapy sessions, I would have them go to funerals of people, humans who were unalive justly or unjustly by the police, just to bring a humanistic aspect to it. I would have officers to, this is gonna sound funny, spend some time, a certain amount of time inside facilities where individuals are housed. But then that would humanize certain things. So I think we have to understand what the goal is for the police and what the goal is for the government. I was at Clark Atlanta. I was at Clark Atlanta University, and I had the privilege of speaking to the chief of police of Decatur, or the second in charge of the city of Decatur. This was a black man. I can't think of that brother's name, but we had a real decent exchange. And he was like, well, when we was talking, he was talking to a room full of at-risk youth. And he was like, do you know where the origin of the police come from? The origin of the police come from people, hired hands, being paid to get slaves back on the plantation to stop them from running away. And I was just like, their origin was to keep niggas in line. Excuse my language, was to keep individuals in line. Shit, that's what they do. Police don't stop the crime. The police respond to the crime. And that's a two-sided thing. No heart. I'm saying that because I'm always torn when it comes to that. Yes, they should have therapy, but I think that if we spent more time staying the fuck away from the police, we'll be in a better place too. That's me putting the blame on us again, because no person of no race should be unjustly unalive by any authoritative figure that is utilized by the government. It just doesn't make sense. It just seems like y'all have the least room for mistakes. Like, you're the government. You should not, this is not a mistake that you should be making, but the government that we're up under, man, shit, the whole prison system, in my personal opinion, bro, need to be altered. So the police going to therapy would be cool. It'd probably be more effective, but then shit, we still have those other issues that we would have to deal with. And you might have saved that baby from worse suffering on this earth. me see. And you might have saved that baby from worse suffering on this earth. Oh, he's talking to Skrilla. That's true too. That's very true. That's a different way of looking at that. That's a different way of looking at that. I guess that just depends on where you at on abortion. Let me see. I'm gonna get a couple more questions, and then I'm gonna get up out of here. Is there a link between slave obedience teachings and how some pastors lead today? Yeah, I think so. Cause again, the key element is fear, and you're a slave on the plantation. Shit, they using the same word. They're telling you, hey, God wants you to be a slave to your master. This is where you're supposed to be. This is how God made it. God made you a slave so you can be a slave to it. You should be an obedient slave to your master. That means to not question, to not reckon, to not seek out solution, but to just go along with what is getting along. And unfortunately, I think the congregation, a portion of the congregation, has embraced this, and that's why you don't see a lot of change. Because we're just obedient slaves, trying not to get in mess away. Yeah, if God is understanding, he should understand and forgive if you stray and don't follow his word to the T. Yeah, I'll take that. How did slavery redefine the concept of God for African people? How did slavery redefine the concept of God for African people? How did slavery redefine the concept of God? I don't know. How did slavery redefine the concept of God for African people? I don't know, because I'm not familiar with the gods that we praise prior to slavery. All I know is Jesus. I wonder what gods we praise before slavery. And yeah, and what the teachings were. I wonder what did we who did we praise before slavery? Who was our God before slavery? Or was this our God before slavery? We just didn't know it. Slaves were given a God instead of finding him on their own. Big facts. Big facts. All right. I'm gonna take one more question, man, and then I'm gonna call my child out. Say, from many gods to one God. Oh, from many gods to one God. I can go for. I heard a guy. Who was I listening to, man? But they were saying that the guy used to talk to everything as if it was a god. Like before he, like the ground, before he walked on the ground, he would talk to the ground. He would talk to the ground. He would talk to the, when it rained, he talked to the rain. Before he killed a chicken, he would talk to this chicken. Did I see that or read that somewhere? He would talk to the chicken. He would talk to the chicken, man. And every time I get these people a price on this land, I really don't know. Like whenever you have land in it, I hate to change subject. Whenever you have land in it, where you getting these questions from? Hold on, let me answer this first. I'm not going. So whenever you have land in the state of Georgia, bro, like people get your phone number. Y'all got both my phone numbers. Y'all sending letters to my house. I get emails. I get contacted about 5 times a day about land. I got 10 acres in Thompson, Georgia. Bro, so whenever they start asking me about this land, I say 200,000. It's 10 acres. I paid 30,000. Give me 200,000. Cause the land ain't for sale. You just keep bothering me. This man has sent me this long thing. I'm not going to be able to come up to that price. I appreciate you getting back with me. If anything changes, ain't nothing gonna change, bro. My number, every time you shit eaters ask me about this land, I'm gonna go up on the price. I'm not trying to sell the land, bro. That's not what it's here for. I'm not trying to sell the land. I'm trying to cultivate this land. My grandson need a subdivision. That's what I'm on. That's what I need. I need this social media to pop off so I can build on this land. The questions come from two different. I had some people that asked some questions, and some of them I generated myself. I hadn't gotten to the ones that I generated myself, but I've had some interesting interactions with some thinkers and some, I don't know how to describe these people, but that's where that source comes from. Some of the questions are overlapping because they get deep, but it's almost like if you listen to, it's not just a well-developed source of questions, because if you listen to, it's not like a conversation, because some of the questions, they just overlap. I don't even know if that answers your question or if you were looking for that much. Do you think our fear of, hold on, what question? How did slavery redefine the concept of God for African people? Was it distorted or destroyed? Brother TJ say we had different gods. All right, man. So I'm gonna conclude this. I appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. We're gonna be back tonight. I'm gonna try to get the black man. Maybe I can get TJ, Brother Jackson, to join us so we can elaborate on some things, man. It would be greatly appreciated. It say the questions tell me, then people want to know who they are and where they come from. Facts. And when you said that, that just hit me in my mouth. I was like, damn, I want to know that. The questions tell me people want to know who they are and where they come from. Damn, bro. You just hit my ass with some shit, damn. Damn, don't we? Because that's almost the answer to a lot of our problems. We operate from a position of weakness because we have definition of who we are, where we come from. And if we knew who we were, like if we really, really knew who we were and where we were from, what we stood for and our origin, bro, you couldn't move us how you move us now. You couldn't move us how you move us now, cause it's like we have a backbone. Not to say the black people don't have a backbone. I'm just saying that we'll be a tad bit stronger. Now you finna make me do some damn homework. I gotta put that in my notes. People want to know who they are and where they come from. Damn. Only thing I could put in my notes, who am I and where do I come from? Damn. It's deeper than therapy, bro. I just came from therapy. You just hit my ass. I'm talking about logging off. You just hit my ass with a, damn, who am I and where do I come from? Damn. It seems simple because I'm 48 years old. As a kid, wild out because they don't know we the same as people. A kid wild out because they don't know we the same as a people. Yeah. And it's those perceived differences that even creates the energy for an op. How the hell you got an op when we the same? If you my brother, meaning you my sibling, we can't be opping. This is a family. We ain't gonna never op out. Never. We ain't gonna never op out. Although I do have, they can't come to my house. But the concept overall, the concept makes sense. the concept not only makes sense, it's actually kind of scary. Cause even as I'm sitting here talking y'all head off about this, man, you making me about to go do my research. Now I want to know like what were we doing prior to? Let me see the question. Who they are and where they come from. Cause I got Ancestry.com, but then it'll tell you what continent and stuff you come from, but I don't know the culture of those people. I don't know the culture of those people. I don't know the religion, but that information is there. That information is there. So I'm gonna do some research on myself, bro. You just hit my ass with something. I don't know if you did that on purpose. But I'm sitting here eating a whole bunch of candy and snacks. You just put some soul food on my plate. Religion made me feel codependent because I could not make a decision without asking for approval. Yeah. Religion made me feel codependent. Yeah, because it makes you feel stronger when you make a decision. So when I was talking to my therapist, that's what I love about like older black women. They be like, information that they give me, it just feel powerful. So she was saying that, you know, again, we all have this world to acknowledge and to play our part. And we all have an eventual goal, whether we are focused in on that goal or not. And to accurately trace your roots is through records and DNA ancestry. Facts. I'm gonna touch on that as soon as I get through with this. Cause everybody dropping something on us. So I have been in that place where I depended on religion or God to make me feel stronger. Like when I was in the hole at Alto, I was fasting. And when I was fasting, I felt stronger because I'm like, I'm not dependent upon myself. I'm dependent upon God. And then in my mind, I was like, I'm gonna use this energy to write. And I was reading my word. I was reading the Bible consistently. And so this gave me strength. And it sound better if I'm doing something. You know, I find myself in conversation when I'm trying to convince somebody or something. I just be like, yeah, go ahead, let the Lord use you, y'all. Let the Lord use you. Cause when that mindset, it takes pressure off of the individual. Cause as individuals, there's a part of us that we want to be told what to do. We want to be given instructions. But then there are some of us who want to find out what the real instructions are. Some of us are going to get tired. Some of us are runaway slaves. Some of us are some runaway slaves. So we're going to seek a different answer. We're going to seek a different way. I don't even know if that's where you was going with it, but religion made me feel codependent because I could not make decisions without asking for approval. Yeah, I've been there. That's a good place to, well, I ain't gonna say that's a good place to be, but sometimes when I do stuff on my own, it go haywire. So when I think that I'm praying or I'm in obedience to God, and when I feel like I've gotten the word from God, it make me feel better about the decision that I made. Because I can mess it up. I can have a whole bunch of money, a whole bunch of opportunities, and I can mess it up. I have that ability. I can mess it all the way up. But when I feel like, oh, this is God put this together, then it just seemed like this is just the right way to go, bro. This God told me to do this. This ain't none of me. And I almost feel strong. It's almost like a coach. The coach said, run the ball like this. Okay, so I'm gonna run the ball because that's what the coach said. And every time I lean on the coach, whenever I'm obedient to God, then life turns out to be a better way. And if it doesn't, this is what God got me going through. So I understand exactly what you're saying. And I am guilty of that same thing. I am guilty. I think a lot of us are. I think a lot of us, depending on where we come from, what our upbringing and what our perception is, I know some brothers that say that they are gods. And I can't go real deep off into the philosophy of it, but it kind of makes sense. I understand why they think the way that they think. And some people are like, the gods are all around you. Everything is God. Man, it just get deep. It get real deep, man. And I'm speaking on it, but I have a lot of more learning to do. He gave you the wisdom to make the right decision rather than he helped you make the right decision. Why not just believe he gave you the wisdom to make the right decision rather than he helped you make the right decision? Why not just believe he gave the wisdom? Fear. And hey man, that's too much soul food, bro. I'm supposed to be law dog. That's heavy. That's heavy. Damn, okay, so why not just believe he gave you the wisdom to make the right decision rather than he helped you make the right decision? Why not just believe he gave you the wisdom to make the right decision rather than he helped you make the right decision? Is that kind of like the same thing? Why not believe he gave you the wisdom to make the right decision rather than he helped you make the right decision? Because either way, he had some role in the righteous decision that was being made. But I understand, if we break it down, I understand, and I think it's the lean on me syndrome, where some of us don't have the strength to be number one. And it's more comfortable to lean on something that is greater than ourselves. Even if that which we consider to be greater than ourselves has given us or ordained us to be number one. Man, this feel like church. I ain't no preacher. You selling yourself short, my boy. Okay, so a lot of times when I be speaking, bro, I just be speaking, man. I be truthful, cause I can't grow unless I'm being honest. Me, I can't grow. I can't be like, shit, I got it all figured out and I'm this and that. I gotta be, shit, I gotta tell you exactly how I feel. I tell you exactly what's going on. That way I can experience true growth. But once I've experienced true growth, then I'm a source to reckon with. I almost like peeing in the bed. I could tell you I ain't peeing in the bed, but I keep turning up with pissy sheets. I don't know how I brought that into the equation. Let's see. Okay, so they got the pen say, only way to accurately heat the gas, but you the car. Gas can't do nothing without the car. Those are facts. Unless you got one of them new electric cars. Only way to accurately trace the roots is through records and DNA. Facts. Facts. Big facts. Selling social and heated gas, but you the car. Gas can't do nothing without the car. That's my daughter. What? That's not. My oldest child trying to go to she trying to go to Six Flags. And that at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. All right, man. I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all gave me a lot to wrap my mind around. Whenever I come from therapy, I always been in a different kind of mindset anyway. But I appreciate the feedback. I appreciate you tuning in and putting something on my mind. Like, for real. And shit, some of y'all gave me some homework to do. Because I want to be able to answer that question. I want to be able to answer it with, if nothing but documentation about where I'm from and who I am. Well, this is where my lineage comes from. And this is some of the practices that we had. I think that I would feel more fulfilled if I even knew that. but as righteous as I'm supposed, I don't know, bro. I don't know. So I appreciate y'all, man. We out to later on, man. Hey, some good stuff gonna happen to you today.